article announcement from researchers that attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD as you might know it, may be a lifelong condition. According to the Centers for Disease Control, about 11% of children in the United States are diagnosed with ADHD. Almost 30% of them will continue to show symptoms beyond childhood, and another 30% will continue to have symptoms or some sort of impairment. All this comes amid new controversy over how many people are being diagnosed with this condition and why, and the medications they're given when they're a kid and maybe for the rest of their lives. Dr. Charles Chuck Williams is a trained child and adolescent psychotherapist and an educational psychologist. It's great to have you back on the program, Dr. Chuck.
Jenna, thanks for having me back again.
Let me just start with the basics of ADHD. What is the science behind it? When you see a child that may be having some challenges, how do you diagnose him or her with this condition?
Well, first of all, let me say that's an excellent question, because although I happen to believe that we overdiagnose childhood psychiatric disorders, ADHD being the leading overdiagnosed disorder among them, there is a science behind it. For example, when we do brain scans for those who've been diagnosed appropriately with ADHD, and the frontal lobe, which is the largest area of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for things like language, decision-making, and as it relates to this conversation, attention, we see different neurochemical activity. So we can prove scientifically that the ADHD brain, so to speak, is different from the non-ADHD brain. So that's one of the ways that you can diagnose it. The other way that we diagnose it is usually through the reports from caregivers and teachers, and when they're young kids themselves.
So it's interesting, one of the doctors that has really advocated for the diagnosis of ADHD is now calling the overdiagnosis, he says in this country, a national disaster of dangerous proportions. And why we wanted to bring that into this other story about whether or not ADHD lasts your entire life is the question about medications. Because if you're overdiagnosing and giving children medication, then what does that mean for them for the rest of their lives? What is your thought in general, your thoughts in general on the medications and whether or not this is a condition that will last someone their entire life?
This is a very important conversation. Here's why. We used to think back in the day that brain development was static. Essentially, that meant that by 5 or 6 years of age, we thought that the brain was pretty much done developing. We then did some research beyond that, and we discovered that the brain continues to develop all the way through adulthood through a theory known as neuroplasticity. So as it implies, the brain is somewhat plastic and malleable, it can be shaped, and it's still forming. Medication can impede that or can have a negative impact on how the brain develops and how those neural connections are made. We don't want that to happen. I always say that we want to hold off for as long as we can from prescribing medication to 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10-year-olds. Why can't we teach them through things like behavior shaping and modification? In fact, the research, Jenna, shows that cognitive behavioral therapy can be quite effective at addressing ADHD in children and adults. But we live in this pill-popping culture where people are walking around like zombies because they're taking all this medication, and now we're pushing that same kind of thinking down onto our children, when in a lot of instances, all they need, believe it or not, is parenting. And parents need to learn how to say no and sit down, and they have to mean it.
It's interesting to note that 1 of 7 children diagnosed with ADHD get that diagnosis before the age of 18. Obviously, if they're children, that's when they would get the diagnosis. What do we know about the side effects of the drug? Do we have any real studies that talk about the side effects of a child taking a drug for 10 years and going off it, or taking some of these drugs like Adderall, for example, just an example, for the rest of their lives? Do we even know the side effects?
Let me tell you, there are a couple of major challenges. The first, which is kind of hidden, is that we now know that young kids, especially in middle school and high school, are trying to access these drugs, and they're using them in order to do well academically. If they have a high-stakes test like an SAT coming up, they will buy these drugs off a kid who's been diagnosed or misdiagnosed, like Ritalin, Adderall, and they'll take these drugs. Imagine what that's teaching our kids, that you have to cheat through medication in order to do well. That's a problem. The second thing is, it's encouraging our kids to use and and become addicted to medication as a way to, again, shape and modify their own behavior. Believe it or not, we have the natural ability in most instances to be able to, focus more, to be more attentive, and we have to teach these things to our kids at a young age. The other issue is that then they grow up as adults and they start to use and abuse this
Just
medication.
real quick before I leave the conversation here, and believe me, we could go on a lot longer on this topic. I know it's a big one. What if a parent is told by a teacher they're going into winter break? This is a scenario. You have a little boy in school, and the teacher says, I really would test him for ADHD. He's very hyperactive. He's bouncing off the walls in the classroom. Of course, it's Christmas time, by the way. A lot of kids get excited. What should a parent do? What is the right step to take?
Well, quickly, the first thing I tell parents is kids are supposed to be hyper. A 5, 6, 7-year-old is not supposed to sit down for many hours. I can't even sit down for many hours, and neither can you. So we have to learn that kids are going to be rambunctious. They need outlets for their energy. We can't try to keep them sort of caged in. In a lot of instances, we do that in the home. We do it in the school. So let's make sure that's a real diagnosis. The other thing I would tell the parents is look for holistic remedies. Change in nutrition, change in diet. Get them working out. Get them involved in sports. And the third thing is sometimes kids look like they have ADHD symptoms because they don't like school, because school can be rote and boring, and that can cause them to act out. So we need more effective education also as a way to address this sort of fake ADHD scare.
It's so interesting. If you look at different states, there's so many different statistics. For example, if you're in the state of North Carolina, you're twice as likely to be diagnosed with ADHD than California. A lot of theories as to why, but something to consider for our national audience out there. Dr. Chuck, it's great to see you as always. Look forward to having you back.
Thanks, Jenna.
There will be a hearing today continuing for the man accused of crashing into pedestrians on the Venice Beach.